You may have heard of Johnny Cash, Jimi Hendrix, or Little Richard, but do you know who Sister Rosetta Tharpe is? A groundbreaking musician who rose to popularity in the 1930s and 40s. She's been called the godmother of rock and roll, but her story has largely gone untold in the U.S. But now, a new musical production at Milwaukee Rep is shining light on her story. This morning, Taj Mahal takes us to the stage in our Sunday morning spotlight.
The story of Sister Rosetta Tharpe is making its way to the stage.
I am playing Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Bethany Thomas says she was excited to land this role, allowing her to transform into a woman she admires, known as the godmother of rock and roll.
She's been around forever, and I think it's time that people started to read up and pay attention.
Sister Rosetta Tharpe. You may have never heard that name, but if you're a fan of music, you've certainly heard her influence. She's a groundbreaking musician. Her work spanning from the 1930s all the way to the 1960s. Her story is inspiring the latest production at Milwaukee Repertory Theater, Marie and Rosetta, starring Alexis J. Roston and Bethany Thomas.
I had definitely heard of Sister Rosetta Tharpe before. I'd gotten into her through Guitar Nerds. Doing the play after reading the script and going into it, it's been a joy to research. And there are lots of really cool clips of her out there.
The theater calls the show the unsung story of rock and roll's roof-raising soul sisters.
You're gonna experience laughter, you're gonna cry a little bit.
Written by George Brandt and directed by E. Faye Butler.
So you're gonna hear music, gospel, a little rock and roll.
And as the stage lights up, the audience will also get a bit of a history lesson.
She's celebrated more in the UK than she is in the United States. She's a black woman from Arkansas who a lot of people dismiss. You gotta remember this happened around the civil rights movement. And just like even the set, being set in the South in a funeral home, which was a place that most entertainers, when you talk about big entertainers of that period, even when you talk about anybody, before the 70s, they were staying in funeral homes and churches because they were safe havens.
Bethany says it's been a joy to transform into a character she relates to so much.
She was a black queer woman who played guitar, and I am a black queer woman who loves guitar. You don't get to play those kinds of characters really from those time periods either. Those kinds of stories just are now starting to get told.
And Rosetta's family is thrilled to have her story told through the eyes of the show.
I love the fact that they are making it a point to just celebrate her, like capture bits and pieces of her history, share her music, and just they're adding to her relevance today.
Tiana Atkins is Rosetta Tharpe's great niece. She says keeping her aunt's memory alive and shining a spotlight on her legacy has been a goal for the family. The show is helping make that happen.
It's a way to just have a contemporary approach to introducing Rosetta to people who may have never heard of her, people who may not have known what her influence is. So it's a really creative way to, reach the masses, especially here where her family is. She has a lot of family here in Milwaukee.
Rosetta died in the 1970s. Effie McGee, Rosetta's niece, part of the family that settled in Milwaukee, says it's time for a new generation to know who her aunt once was and her impact on the music industry.
She brought in contemporary music before contemporary was ever known, from gospel all the way to rock and roll.
The play will show the audience how Rosetta's musical talents didn't come from formal training, but from her family.
A lot of her siblings, they play guitars, and then they taught their children how to play. I mean, it's awesome, and her dad used to play.
The respect for Sister Rosetta and her impact has made this production a joy for the cast and crew.
Well, I love the story, first of all, and anytime we can celebrate women and uplift women, first and foremost, is a joy for me personally.
Bethany says everyone should know Rosetta's story, and she's grateful to be part of spreading that history. She hopes that folks walk away from the play excited to learn even more about her impact.
It's out there, and it's cool, and it's part of music history, American music history, American rock music history. Rolling Stone named her like the 6th greatest guitarist of all time. Black women don't get flowers like that a lot.
Marie and Rosetta will run starting October 22nd through December 15th. For ticket information, you can visit MilwaukeeRep.com.